Take out a $20 bill. It's cotton and ink, worth maybe 10 cents. It only becomes $20 because millions of people agree to pretend that it is. That's not economics. That's a shared belief, held by strangers, enforced by nobody you will ever meet. Bitcoin didn't invent that. It just stopped hiding it. To understand Bitcoin, you first have to understand why people believe things together. Religions don't begin with buildings or robes or rules. They begin with a problem. How do strangers who will never meet learn to trust each other? For most of human history, that problem had one answer: a shared story. A story big enough that believing it made you part of something. And those stories tend to grow the same handful of parts: a founding text holding the original truth, a founder whose life becomes the proof, rituals that turn belief into daily action, a congregation so that nobody believes alone, evangelists who carry the story outward, prophecy, promising that the future will vindicate you, and eventually, schism, the fight over what the text really meant. Every single one of those exists in Bitcoin. And that is not an insult, it's an explanation.